This is the unit of first grade Spanish, greetings, numbers, and colors. This unit is mainly going to be a review of units that we went over in kindergarten, but we'll be adding some intricacies and some details to this unit. So we begin with greetings. In Spanish, we greet people with buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, hola, and adios. Buenos días is the way you would greet someone in the morning, so naturally it is good morning. Buenos días. Buenas tardes is what you would say to someone in the afternoon, so it is good afternoon. Buenas tardes. And last but not least, buenas noches. Buenas noches means good evening or good night. So depending on what you're actually doing, you can use buenas noches. So if you're greeting someone in the evening time, saying hello, you can say buenas noches. Or if you're taking leave and saying good night, you would also say buenas noches. Hola, of course, means hello or hi. And adios, we know, means goodbye. That brings us to our introductions. We can introduce people by saying me llamo, se llama, ¿cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cuántos años tienes? And de dónde eres? Okay. So we'll start with me llamo. Me llamo is essentially my name is. If we remember from kindergarten, it really means I call myself, but that's not really what we say in English. So really, me llamo means my name is for all intents and purposes. Se llama means his or her name is. So if you're introducing a friend to another friend, you might say se llama and then say his or her name. Again, literally what this means is he or she calls him or herself and then their name. But we don't really say that in English, so it's easier just to remember it as his or her name is. Se llama. Okay, if you want to know somebody's name, you can ask, ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? That means, what's your name? Technically, it means, what do you call yourself? But we don't really say that in English, so we just remember it as being, what's your name? ¿Cómo se llama? What's his or her name? And again, it's really what does he or she call him or herself. But we don't really say that in English, so we just say ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? If we remember, means how old are you? If we were to translate this directly, it would mean how many years do you have? But we don't really talk like that in English, so it's easier to remember it as how old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres? Means where are you from? ¿De dónde eres? All right, now talking about our feelings. If we want to ask someone how they're feeling, we would say, ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? How are you? ¿Cómo estás? And we can respond to that question by saying, Estoy bien. I am good. Estoy bien. We could say estoy mal. Estoy mal, which means I'm doing bad. So that's something you might say if you were sad or angry or upset. Estoy mal. And right in the middle, estoy así, así. I'm so-so, or I'm okay. Estoy así, así. In this unit, we'll also be doing our numbers 1 through 30. And if we pick these up real quickly, we'll keep on moving. But what we're responsible for are the numbers 1 through 30. Uno, uno, dos, dos, tres, tres, cuatro, cuatro, cinco, cinco, seis, seis, siete, siete, ocho, ocho, nueve, nueve, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15. Now after quince, we start to follow a pattern. So let's see if you can pick up on what that pattern is. 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19. So if you haven't gotten it yet, our pattern is what we have in the tens space and what we have in the ones space. In the number 19, in the tens place, we have a 1, which is worth 10. So we say 10. In the ones place, we have 9, which is 9. And when you see the letter Y in Spanish, we pronounce that Y, Y, and it means and. So when we say 19, what we're really saying is 10, 10, y, and 9, 9. So the number 19 is 10 y 9, 10 and 9. And this pattern is repeated over and over and over again all through the rest of the numbers. We go through each number place. So we'll see that in the 20s and 30s as we go along. 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25, 25, 26, 26, 27, 27, 28, 28, 29, 29, 30, 30. So those are all of our numbers that we'll be going over in this unit of first grade. Next, we have our colors, which are a review. So usually we can go over them rather quickly. And then we'll be talking about something called gender number agreement, which sounds really complicated, but once you get used to it, it makes a lot of sense. So we'll start with our colors. Rojo, rojo, anaranjado, anaranjado, amarillo, amarillo, verde, verde, azul, azul, morado, or we can also say violeta, morado, violeta, café, or we could say marrón, café, marrón, blanco, blanco, negro, negro, gris, gris. And finally, we have this gender number agreement. So all nouns, which are people, places, or things, in Spanish have a gender. Now, that's not to say that all things in Spanish are boys or girls, but that's just to say that each noun, which is a person, place, or thing, has a gender. Okay? So usually, not always, but usually, if a word ends in O, that word is what we call masculine. And if a word ends in A, usually, but not always, usually, that word is feminine. And then it also has a number. It's either singular or plural. So if there's just one thing, it is singular. And if there are many things, it's plural. So a gender and a number have to agree or be the same for nouns and their adjectives, or the words that describe them. So for example, if we want to say red square, red is the adjective and square is the noun. So the noun square is cuadrado and the adjective red is rojo. So we would say for red square, cuadrado, rojo. But if we wanted to say red squares, the number has to agree. If we say that there is more than one square or squares, we'd say cuadrados. And so the adjective, which is the color red, also has to be plural. That's different in English than Spanish. So if the color red is plural, it's rojos. So red squares is cuadrados rojos. Cuadrados rojos. Now, if we wanted to say red stars, the noun there is stars, which in Spanish is estrellas. Estrellas. Now you notice the word estrella is star, ends in an A. And usually when a word ends in A, that word is feminine. So the adjective that describes it also has to be feminine. So we say estrellas rojas. We change the O in rojo to an A. Now I know this all sounds really confusing right now, but all we have to remember is that if the thing ends in an O, then it's adjective. The thing that describes it has to end in O. And if the thing ends in an A, the adjective, the thing that describes it, also has to end in an A. And that's the same if it's plural, it ends in an S, and if it's singular, it does not. All right, and that is our unit for first grade Spanish. Introductions, feelings, greetings, numbers, and colors.